Good evening, everyone. I'm Dancing Banana. I was with you earlier, and we got a new person in. We got Fast. Fast, how are you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty great, but I'm excited for this next game. We got ourselves Iowa State versus Michigan for Week 8 here in the MCC. Another Northern game after the last one that was going to happen, but I think let's talk about this game. Iowa State, obviously, they were a team that I think coming into this, I think the expectations is fair to say was not too high, but like they also weren't like in the bin. They're kind of like a middle of the road team, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that they've definitely had some ups and downs. Certainly, for example, just last week beating Washington State 3-1, and then other times having some other non-conference losses. But they are undefeated in the Northern Conference as of now, so they've definitely been an interesting team to watch.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, especially for Iowa State, they are on track for, like you said, that number one seed. They will, if they win this, obviously continue that pace, but they'll be on track with Kansas State, a team I think people rate very highly, arguably the number one team in the conference, depending on how you rate CSUF. But Iowa State's right there, and in Week 10, there will be the Iowa State versus Kansas State game, which, if things go as they're currently going, and these teams are winning as they're currently winning, we might just see a Week 10 fight for the first seed, which would be really exciting. But on the other side, there is another team who is going to try to spoil Iowa State's fun in Michigan, which I think we should talk about Michigan. You're a team that you actually played a bit.
I am back now. Sorry about that. Yeah. Michigan. Honestly, both of these teams have been equally interesting in their runs so far in the Meridian Collegiate Conference. Obviously, Michigan did beat Penn State, but they've also lost to teams like Maryland and Nebraska. But yeah, they've definitely also been interesting to watch. I didn't mean to interrupt if you have more to say about that.
No, I don't disagree at all with what you're saying, but I think the one of the big things I want to talk about is that Michigan as a team are currently 2-2 in the conference play. This puts them in an interesting position where they can do a lot, especially if they win this 3-2. That's a good record to have, especially where we currently are. I think they'll be fourth seed and like a good bit above the teams that will be below them. However, if they lose, they'll be dropping down to that 2-3 stuff, which puts them in again into the fight with all the teams below them. But I think let's quickly talk about, before we keep on going, these Preds. Who do you think is going to win this game?
To be honest with you, I got Michigan winning, and it's just because, like, from honestly, like I've said before, they're both variable teams to me. They show up in different qualities on different days, but overall, in this particular matchup, I think Michigan just takes the dub.
Yeah, and on my end, I am going to go Iowa State here. I just think Iowa State's been an amazing team. Not Milky. Yes, I want to say Milky. Yes, Milky has been great. But after getting into this, let's talk about this game. Blue team. We got Iowa State on the orange side. We got Michigan right there. Milky's got the ball. He's in the corner, slowing it down quite a bit. Game pace is a bit slower, but Iowa State has the possession early on.
And that game pace is something to note. I do remember being on the Penn State team that has played both of these teams, I believe, that they generally do like to take things a little bit faster. So I guess we'll see how this ramps up here with an early attempt by Michigan. But the ball is seeming to not really get anywhere in terms of scoring opportunities thus far.
Yeah, right there. We saw a bit of miscomms over between Milky and Bartholomew, but again, Milky's currently taking a 50. Though no R, he's going to try to control this ball, and Jones takes 50. That doesn't go his way. Gerf, though, Salty has been probably the key player in the last game that Iowa State played. Make sure that they took a secure victory. But Milky obviously is one of the best players in the conference, I'd say. He's been really impressing me and showing up. But
now, for sure. Yeah, in the games that I've watched, he's really been a star, man, and hopefully he'll do some nice things for the team today. But this ball is hanging in the blue half, and there is Bartholomew on the very first goal of the series for Michigan. Let's see how this unfolded here. No dart into the corner, and he just bumps Milky right out the way, and that is really how you do it. going right back to the fundamentals of bumping him out of the way, and that'll get you a goal.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things about these teams was, I think for Iowa State, they are a very bumpy team. They're actually one of the highest demos in the league, third in the league with like a 4.4 pretty much. Although Michigan shows that they have some of their own with just bumps. Jones, though, tries to go past one. He does. Bartholomew, though, gets the big save. Now Milky tries his own thing. Doesn't actually do much. Tries to do somewhat a double, but doesn't get anywhere. Salty shot. Goes for a bouncer. Just hits the crossbar, and suddenly, bit awkward here on the Michigan half. Boost is getting very low for them.
That is true, and a nice little opportunity out of Iowa State there. It's looking like this will be an interesting series, as I kind of predicted. We've got some early opportunities on both sides. Let's see if Michigan can take it into the Iowa State goal. Not entirely. They will keep it in their half, though, no one there, and the ball just gets cleared out. Kind of a little game of ping pong as the demos come out, but it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, right now, currently in the corner, Plague has the ball, though, gets hit hard by Milky. He tries to get a bump on Noar. I think he gets a small touch, but Jones can't quite do what he wants. Now Salty puts it up to Milky, who's just opts to not go for that. But right now, the pressure is on Michigan, though. A double commit there with no success is going to heavily relieve that, and suddenly Michigan has their own chance. Bartholomew is trying his thing, trying to get the 50 on Milky. He does successfully, but there is no second man there. Currently, Michigan playing this very deep second and third man, making sure that no punishment comes out of their way from these counterattacks. And right now, they're okay with that. This is a 1-0 lead going 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing I'm noticing so far. We've got various, hits to nobody in the middle, and sometimes when the ball's right in front of the net, the second man ends up not being there. So there's plenty of opportunity on both sides. We just got to try to capitalize it. Incumbent Jones not able to make that happen. But Milky will come up to Salty. And will that come down? He'll try the 50. Milky with the shot? Not quite.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Salty's going off the ceiling. He doesn't opt not jump out. Tries to go for the shot anyways, though. Gets pretty easily saved. Plague, though. Huge hit out. Bartholomew doesn't get the touch now, and suddenly, Milky has his chance on it, though. Gets a bit of a heavy touch that can't be followed up, and no, just gets another clear. Right now, the shot totals from these teams aren't much. 3 for Iowa State, but only a singular one for Michigan, despite the fact that they have the goal lead. They actually haven't been doing much offensively when they are there, and right now, the offense is very much in the way of Iowa State, even if the threats made aren't severe.
Yeah, that is a very interesting point you bring up. It looked like Bartholomew was camping that corner there. I don't know if he got it. But nice clear it by Plague. And Iowa State has 60 seconds, well, 50 seconds more precisely to make something happen. Salty into the corner. And we got a lot of people up on the Iowa State side right now. And Jones will be back to save the day. With an awkward landing, is anyone there to shoot? There's Bartholomew. Not quite, but Michigan will try to keep the pressure up here to lock in this game 1.
Yeah, 30 seconds left on the clock, and right now, Noar, he has the control. He's trying to buy time. He gets past Milky 1-on-1. Noar makes it a 2-goal lead with sub 30 seconds left. That might just be enough.
And that's just an unfortunate one. Nodart with a nice little flick over, and that's a good old-fashioned goal right there. So we'll see if Iowa State can make something happen with 25 seconds left in this first game.
Well, there's a kickoff that goes a bit of the way of Iowa State. Jones gets another beat. That's an open net. Who's first there? Milky. That's a kickoff goal for Iowa State, and suddenly, this is a very real chance that they have. Just a kickoff that doesn't go quite the way of Michigan wants. Doesn't try to do anything fancy to get control of it, and it punishes them. And suddenly, 20 seconds left, 1 goal. That's a very winnable position.
For sure. I almost thought we'd see some kickoff strats come out, but looked a little normal to me. Salty with a nice little attempt, but now they got 10 seconds, and the time is getting real here. All the Iowa State players up, trying to make something happen. Bartholomew with a nice little clear, and it won't hit the ground just yet. That might be a goal. Not quite, but Michigan will take this first game. There were a lot of opportunities on both sides, but Michigan was just able to get it done.
Yeah, and in general, that was an interesting game I think I just saw from Iowa State. For a team that I think we praised so heavily, that was just a quiet start, I think is the best way to say it. That first half of the game was not them. Michigan had all the control, made them uncomfortable, doing their thing, and eventually Iowa State learned, oh yeah, we're a good team. they started getting the pressure on. But in the end, Michigan, they held on. No Art got a very important goal in those final 30 seconds to make sure they had that insurance goal, which they needed in the end after another kickoff came through. But I think I want to see a step up from Milky. I think he was this guy who was praising so heavily. And I think he was a bit quiet. He wasn't horrible. He got the goal in the end. But I think there's a lot that I felt like that I've seen from him. He just made a bit more mistakes than I'm used to from him. So we'll see if that gets cleaned up. But obviously, it's game one, right? It's just a feeler. You figure out how the other team wants to play, and you figure out what you need to do. And I want to speak on Iowa State. They have a coach over there, Vanish, I believe. And they've been singing his praises every time we talk to him in interviews. He's this guy that's calming them down, telling them what they need to make, subtle changes. And we've actively seen what it does for them. So we'll see if he made any changes here and what Iowa State will bring into game 2 against Michigan.
I would venture to say that we will see some more action out of both teams. Obviously, it is nice having someone like that in your corner. And I think it'll just make it even easier to implement those changes on a team level as Recumbent Jones will get demoed. Not quite on that opportunity, but maybe going forward. Salty Girth pushing it up a little bit. But I feel like we're starting similar to how we started game 1, where it's just kind of looking a little slow in terms of opportunities, but I'm sure we'll see something coming up in a second as a note. Art with going for the bump on that play, but nothing doing there.
Yeah, obviously it's a bit... No, I don't think it's as slow pace as the beginning of the last game was, but I think the big thing I'm seeing is the off-ball movement is been a bit more speedy here. I saw people trying to actually make things. There's demos happening, obviously on the Recumbent Jones earlier, but right now the Recumbent Jones gets a double. It's a bit too powerful, and there's nothing to be done. But Milky, he's already on it. This is technically a shot, though. No Art gets an easy save, but suddenly Iowa State, they got control. They got boost. Currently, the boost total is over on the Michigan side. Ain't amazing, but No Art picks up one, and now it's his turn to go. Gets a slightly awkward 50 with Milky, and the next person up is Trent Jones. His teammate, Salty, got bumped over, so couldn't do what he wants to, but Bartholomew, he's going to try to do his thing. Tries to for the reset, not quite, and Iowa State, on the defense, are able to keep it okay.
That is an unfortunate one. You could tell he was going for that landing, but he just didn't quite get it. That could have been a nice goal. But Milky now looking for his own chance, and that will just go right. And we are trading missed opportunities here, back and forth. It's kind of a very chaotic battle here. Salty taking it back into the Michigan half, and Jones trying to support, but it will go past him, and nothing doing there.
Yeah, Salty tried to do a bit of a thing, but Bartholomew just heavily denies with the hard clear. Now Milky, he's got his turn. Gets a heavy 50 over on Plague. Now Salty, his go at it. Gets the pinch cross. Who's first there? It was going to be Plague, but Milky gets a huge demo, and who's foot race back, and there's a bump, but not quite. No, gets to it, and now Jones just has to get onto his ball. Doesn't get the clear he wants. Now, there's a sudden counterattack happening here, though. That corner is going to slow it down heavily, and Milky is able to recover it. Though I say that, there's a shot that doesn't go in. There's a bar down. It's not in, and Jones, he's the first one there. He's going to try to pinch this ball out. Does so, but Plague's making sure it's okay, though. The rebound does its job. And now suddenly we are on a one-on-one opportunity, 1-on-2 opportunity, and no, he can't quite do that. He's trying to dodge one and can't get the 50 he wants. 1-0 Iowa State after a bit of chaos and a missed opportunity by Michigan.
And way to convert for Iowa State. I mean, if you're Michigan, you really want to put those away, and it was just unfortunate seeing that they didn't make that happen, and then the ball just went back the other half. But yeah. That's just kind of unfortunate, and we'll see if Michigan can bring it back here. Newbert already chasing it, and Bartholomew with the miss, but Plague comes in to clean it up. And they are hungry for this victory, and they want to close out this series very quickly. Not that we're at match point yet, but they want to get this done.
Yeah, I mean, I like the physicality that was happening there. You forced, I believe it was Jones, into the back of the net. He can't make a follow-through of what probably should have been his due to that. Right now, there's another kickoff. Goes the way of the Michigan side. Instantly in the nose clear. 1-on-1 again. Milky cannot get it. And suddenly, it's 2-1 Michigan. What happened here? No,
they are really catching heat right now. Milky just a little hesitant on the defense. And I mean, when you're last back, what can you really do? Because that ball can go so many different directions. But that's just unfortunate. Michigan is gaining some momentum, so we will have to see. Salty is not having it, and he will chase some more demos. And a good attempt by Milky, but nothing happening there. But Iowa State has got some work to do.
Yeah, and I want to go back to that goal that happened. I think the criticism I have there is just Milky. He's playing in this like very near post position, but he's not like actually shouting the ball, trying to follow its movements. He's playing actually kind of against it, opposing what it's trying to do. So when there's a sudden cut on that ball, he actually doesn't have the time to rotate his car, and with that, the rebound comes through, and there's a person there waiting. But right now, Iowa State, they're trying to amend the issues that they've had by trying to be just an offensive power. Salty doesn't get the touch he wants, but leaves it for Jones, who puts it back into the corner, though Bartholomew is okay with that. Though even with the pinch out, goes straight to Note, who gives it to Milky. He tries to back pass it to Salty, though Calms decide that Milky goes next, and there is murder on the field. Now Salty, it's his turn. Gets a 50 past 1. Who is next? It's going to be Bartholomew, and he has a bit of time as Milky takes a bit long, and that 50 goes the way that they need. And Michigan, they're now trying to get this ball out.
Michigan is just... They seem to me like they want it and Note Art with a nice attempt, but as I say that, Iowa State evens up the game. But, I mean, yeah, you just got to have someone third there, but I think Michigan is appearing like, and this is purely based on vibes, but Michigan is appearing like the hungrier team to me. I mean, we've had momentum swings both ways, but this is kind of what I was alluding to in my initial predictions. Michigan to me just seems like overall they want it more, as Bartholomew puts it away as I say that. Beautiful pass from Nodart, and Jones might have been looking for a demo. I don't know if he was intending to or not, but didn't find it. And that's just a nice open net for Bartholomew.
Yeah, I mean, Nodart gets it down center, gets it past Milky, and then suddenly it's just a fast shot. You can't do much about it. Right now, Iowa State, you are back down 1. Milky, he's trying to get a pass, gets past 1, but the next person there is going to be Plague. It's going to go down, I believe. Does. Who's first there? Jones hits it hard out, but right now, 30 seconds left on the clock. It is a 1-goal game again. And if you are worried as an Iowa State fan, you should be. Salty has to make a very scuffed save to keep him in. Milky, no boost, just picks up the mid here, but has to get an awkward position. Though there's a miscomm there. Jones, Milky should have been just communicated very well, and now there's awkward position. Salty, he's not confident. He has to go to third man, and now 10 seconds left. Iowa State, they gotta get a goal to make sure this doesn't go to match point. Jones, there is 2 people there again. Milky and Jones can't communicate, but right now, Milky has a chance for a go, but he cannot. It's too high. Jones tries to keep it alive on the 0 seconds. And this ball is alive.
Let's see if anything can happen in that. We'll touch around. I will say that those 2 interactions there from Iowa State seem to me like pinch attempts. And they just the way that it came together. And it was interesting that they went for it twice, because usually you see them go for it once as kind of a you know, what the heck, let's try it. But it was almost funny seeing 2 of those pinch attempts. Unfortunately, they couldn't make anything happen, you know, throwing the kitchen sink and trying to make something happen. But Michigan will take this game too, and they are now on match point, on pace to sweep Iowa State out of this series.
Yeah, and I mean, was anyone expecting this? I mean, Iowa State, they are 4-0 in the group. Michigan is 2-2. These are 2 very different teams and how strong we thought they were. And all of a sudden, we just might see the Iowa State. They had the chance to go against Kansas State, and suddenly they have to worry about not getting swept by Michigan. This is the same team that lost to Nebraska, who admittedly, strong team, and also lost to Kansas State, although fair enough. But, I mean, you take down Iowa State, suddenly, I was talking about how Michigan State, if you want to be the best team, one of the best teams, you got to beat some of the best teams. And I mean, what other way do you prove it than beating a 4-0 team in your conference, giving them their first loss?
Absolutely, and this would be a landmark win for Michigan, given how their schedule has gone throughout the season. And let's see if they can make that happen right here. Nodart will try to start with a clear, and maybe an early opportunity for Iowa State to ramp up some pressure. Salty will keep it in the half with, unfortunately, no boost, but Jones will be here to support. And Iowa State is trying to find something early here, because otherwise it is not looking great for them.
Yeah, right now, the big thing I want to see is that I need to see Milky step it up. Guy had sub 100 points last game. He was not feeling it. He was the guy who, maybe it was pinch attempts with Jones. It could also just been miscoms, which, honestly, considering how panicky they were, I wouldn't be surprised if they were. Milky's trying to do it all by himself. gets past one, can't quite get past two, another one. There is awkwardness in front of the Michigan half, and the panic, it's okay, even with all the double commits and everything. This ball gets cleared out all the way to the Iowa State corner, and suddenly, Salty, he's on it. Now, Milky, he's first. Bartholomew, he's the last one back. He is trying to buy time for his team, and right now, he's just trying to block a shot, and he does so. Salty cannot put it away. Jones, though, it's his turn. He just puts us off the back wall, and Bartholomew gets a huge clear. Bartholomew's been great this series, as has the rest of the Michigan team. They have been, as a group effort, making things work, and suddenly there's another shot. As right as I say that, a teammate steps up as Bartholomew makes a mistake, and suddenly this ball is cleared out, and Michigan, they're holding on.
And that is a great save by No Dart a few seconds ago to keep Michigan from getting scored on. But Iowa State is seeming to maintain this pressure in the Michigan half. Yeah, Salty will keep that. So Michigan will want to make something happen here. This is kind of a pivotal game for both teams, because if you're Michigan, a loss here could mean the start of a reverse sweep. And if you're Iowa State, you know, you reap the benefits of that. So that is an unfortunate miss. Salty with another shot attempt. Plague just bodying everybody. And this will go right back into the Michigan corner.
Right now, the issue for Michigan is their boost totals are very low. No art, though, I just say that. Just picked up a full boost, but the rest of his team has nothing in the tank. Salty keeps this ball high, like he recognized it, though. No, gets a big clear that has to get stopped by Milky, and Plague now gets a southern one. And No Art's trying to go for the reader. I can't quite. But, I mean, the creativity's there on the Michigan side. Iowa State, they are suddenly back on the offense. So a big demo is going to buy some time that Bartholomew needs, though. That 15 to the corner is going to give Milky a chance. And Salty, he's just playing chaos in the net and is able to put the redirect in.
That's a beautiful one. And look at Salty right here going for the Plague. Tried to dodge the demo, but in doing so, he just wasn't in a proper position to save that. And that's a beautiful one by Iowa State. So let's see if they can maintain this lead. We're about halfway through this game. They do win this kickoff, so let's see if they can make it happen.
Yeah, no, though. He's going to try to get a double. He can't quite Jones. He's going to try to put a shot on target. Gets past one. Can he get past two? Just gets a 50. But Milky, he is now there. Gets a heavy hit off. Salty's next. Takes a quick shot, but there is multiple defenders in that net. Not going through, though. Lots of misses on the other side, and there is chaos, though. Milky doesn't even put it on target. There might have been a chance there, but just got to put those ones away, and 1-goal leads have not been safe in this series. 2-goal leads have been what it takes, but right now, Michigan is back on the offense. Bartholomew puts the shot too high. Jones is already there. Who's next? It's going to be a Plague Salty 50, and that goes the way of Iowa State.
Yeah, and Iowa State is really seeming to have a control on this one. I don't necessarily have all the analytics pulled up, but I would imagine that the ball has been in the Michigan half, I should say, for a very long time this game, up until around a few seconds ago. As Michigan looks for a demo, and Jones is there to save the lead for Iowa State. And that is a great save. Let's see if they can get it out of their half, though, as No Art looks for a shot. Nothing there. Salty just denying everything, and it comes back to Jones, who will return it to the Michigan half. But Michigan is maintaining some pressure here. Almost a goal, but not quite.
Yeah, the pressure's still on, though. Michigan's trying. Oh, that's going to be a big clear. The note's already there. He's not going to worry. He tries to dodge a demo of one. Tries to get a 50, but that's just an awkward touch, and Milky, I think he just deflects it off of a player, and 2-goal lead, 40 seconds. That might be what Iowa State needs to start. What could be possibly a reverse sweep? But as you were saying, on the thing about the pressure here, before that, entire, little offensive thing happened with Michigan, it was 70%, Iowa State pressure. So, it was extremely one-sided. But there was obviously that little moment, though. Why do we care about that little moment that Michigan had? It's been all Iowa State ever since. Milky goes for a little bit of an air dribble past one, gets the hop over No Dart. He tries to make a save, but can't quite. Gets it upper 90 instead, and 3 goals, 33-second lead. This game's as good as done. We're going to be looking at the start of what, maybe is a reverse sweep?
I mean, it's always possible. We're talking about... Oh! You just had to say something, didn't you? Okay.
It's a casting curse. Yeah, I mean... I mean, what a shot by Milky. I mean, it's beautiful. He read that one perfectly, but I mean, you're just laughing if you're Iowa State there. I mean, the whoops in chat, but
I think
really
they heard
matter.
you talking about reverse sweep, and they are not having that. Bartholomew with what we'll call a fake, as that might be a goal. Not entirely, and Michigan, if they want to win this one, need to make something happen very quickly. That goal did kind of save their dignity there, I think, but unfortunately, as time ticks down, it will not be their game.
Yeah, I mean, they just got like hit with an air dribble by Milky straight off the kickoff, and then in return, you just made him own goal. I mean, yeah, fair enough. Yushan just ruined, like, hey, I just hit a thing on you. Yeah, you just own goal for us. It's great. But 2-1 for Michigan now. Iowa State got the first game of 3 that they need to keep themselves undefeated in the conference thing, but that was a game that was much better from Iowa State. Their shots attempts were much nicer. They had 12 shots in general. They had double what Michigan had. And Michigan was like so much on the defense that entire game, just desperately trying to keep things alive.
Yeah, that's that is an unfortunate turn for Michigan. They could, having been on, and I'll repeat myself again, but having been on the Penn State team that played both of these teams, it really is variable when you put both of these against each other, as we've just seen. Michigan can really come out and play, but Iowa State also has it in them, as we just saw, and it really depends on who is able to make it work in the moment. So I personally still have Michigan closing out this series. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with Iowa State. They're originally who I predicted. I was getting worried after the 2-0 start, but I think Iowa State, I just believe, right? You have a coach, you have a guy that can help you game by game fix your small flaws, and they've been getting better every game. I think that's fair to say. I think they were extremely weak in game 1. They had their issues in game 2, but were slowly getting there. And in game 3, they showed who they are. And I think now that we've seen who they are, that's who they're going to be for the rest of this series, and all the way up into game 5. But right now, we are in game 4, and that's where the focus of these players are. And right now, we are on the Iowa State defense. Next person up is Bartholomew. He has a chance. He puts it past one, but Recumbent Jones gets a huge save, and he's next on. Instantaneously, Michigan is fighting back after a loss that they did not want. And as I say that, there's a goal! Recumbent Jones cannot save it. Bartholomew is able to get scoring started for Michigan.
And that is a great find. They really just caught Iowa State not ready to defend that one. So, and that's a great start if you're Michigan, because you just want to be on top as early as you can. And they're really fighting, as you pointed out. But Salty tying it right back up. And both of these teams are really looking for this victory now. I think they're getting more comfortable than they were in something like game 1, but Salty was just in a very opportune position for that one. So this will be a fun game to watch for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Salty, he's just playing up, trying to do his little thing. Milky gets a big 50 on Nodar, and suddenly we got to do another worry here. Salty puts a shot on Bartholomew, he gets the save. Milky, though, puts that infield, no one's there. Jones stops the big clear from being all the way. So he has to get another 50, that goes away. But Plague, he's next one up, flicks past one. Can he get past another? Not quite. Opts to cancel it, though. I say that, Salty tried to do a thing, and no! I mean, there's a good idea. The vision was there, but Bartholomew, his shot just goes straight into Plague, I want to say, after the back pass, and what could have been a goal just got saved. But Michigan, they're still on the offense right here, and I say that, and Salty just straight gets past everybody. Plague on low boost has to get a save. But good opportunities by Michigan, even if they can't close them out.
I really did see the vision there with that Michigan play, and you just got to let it not phase you. If they can find a few more of those, like even 1 or 2 more, they will score. And I do like that out of Michigan, but they just gotta look for the next one. But I think they'll find something as they try to clear it out into this Iowa State half. Jones not able to clear it out, but Salty also missing and not quite. See if Bartholomew has anything to say about it, and we will go back into the Michigan half for now.
Yeah, Milky, safe pair of hands again. He's been getting much better in the series after game. I want to say game 2, he was at his weekest, but game three, he stepped it straight back up. Michigan, though, they've been doing these, like, little passes to each other back and forth. Even on the defense side, they might not be scoring goals, but, like, keeping this possession, making sure someone's constantly on the ball. Bartholomew had a shot there, but it's way too high. But I'm loving this from Michigan. They're just, like, giving it to another player. Like, you can have it now. It's your turn. And just constantly doing this, making sure that someone's on this. Iowa State never has a chance, and Jones is gone, and no boost, just gets a little chip pass, but suddenly there's another chance for Bartholomew, can't quite put it on. Jones, he misses it. There's another miss from Noah. He was not ready for that miss, but play gets past one. Sidewall double, Kenny. Shot goes slightly not on. Jones gets a big clear, but next person here is Bartholomew, who opts to wait it out, sees that he doesn't have the best chance.
And that is an interesting decision. I liked the pressure that Michigan had there, and now Iowa State is bringing it back the other way. Plague trying to set up a team play, no one necessarily there. And now Michigan needs to play some defense until they can get another clear out. A nice dodge by Plague there. Can Michigan keep this up? I think if Michigan can keep up this pressure, they will find a goal. Unless there is no one in the net and Iowa State, and more precisely, recumbent Jones is able to put a nice little slot, and unfortunately no one's back, so Iowa State will go up 1 goal in this game 4.
Yeah, it looked like recumbent Jones, he was trying to do like a full 180, it seemed like, and it's extremely slow in these cards if you're not like holding down the power side or a half flip, and it punishes. But suddenly we're back on the offense here. There's a spawn that's a bit awkward for everybody involved. Jones gets this ball high. Who is next? Plague gets a not great touch. Next person there is Salty. Half flips past one, flicks it past another. Next person up is Milky. Puts it behind. What a save by Plague, in and out. But the offense is not done. Salty doesn't get the shot that he wants. Plague, there's a double commit, and suddenly the panic is on. Bartholomew is gone. No, he is the last one back. He's trying to get a pass. Chips it slightly out. Milky can't do anything. He gets a 50 with Jones, and no boost for the entirety of this Michigan team. It's so awkward. What can they do? Plague tries to get a pass, but Salty, he is there. Does he get the reset? Not quite. He's sticking with this ball, and it's just so slow, and it just goes in anyways. The boost is low, and the score goes to Iowa State.
I gotta be honest with you, if I'm on the defensive end, that almost looked like he was gonna ground pinch it. I would have jumped. Or I would have not jumped. I would have played low, and I would have got scored on as well. But that's just a great play. And Iowa State is looking at a Game 4 victory to tie up this series. They got to maintain this 2-goal lead with a minute to go, and they're having success thus far. Actually, Nodart is able to clear it out, and he'll try to cut to Plague, and they will make sure that shot gets saved with 2 defenders on, but Milky not quite able to get that one, and Michigan really needs to ramp it up now because they do not want this series to be tied.
Yeah, now it's Bartholomew's turn. He has the ball, gets a heavy touch, tries to put it in midfield. No one's there. There's a double commit, though. That 50 goes kind of okay, but there's a huge miss. Who's next? Play. Can't quite get the touch. Milky gets it out. 20 seconds left. There got to be a goal ASAP. You got to get this ball out. No. Puts it center. First person there is Bartholomew. Who's next? It's going to be Salty. That's going to be just a shot on target, and Play's got to save it, and 10 seconds left. It is looking all but over. Those bumps are going to mess him up so heavily, and Milky into the corner. Not enough time, and we are going to Game 5 here. The reverse sweep is on the table.
And you really can't have it any other way when you put these two teams against each other. I mean, it's just amazing to watch, is what I'll say. It's just a wonderful game to watch. But yeah, Michigan is kind of on the chopping block here. They were looking at a sweep earlier, a 2-0 sweep, and Iowa State has come to play. So we will be going into an interesting Game 5, and to mark the occasion, we will be taking a very temporary timeout.
Yeah, we're going to do a quick server change here for the players to make sure everything's up to what everybody wants. But as we get going, I mean, Iowa State, they are showing who they are. I mean, right? Like, first 2 games.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely, like, not who they are. They are not having the time that they want to be. Milky, especially, I want to point out, has just been suffering. But Game 3 onwards, they found something that they wanted. And they've been making it work. But yeah, right now we're currently doing the lobby change. Might be a minute as try to get things going.
So let's bring this back up. Game 5. I'm still riding with Michigan to resist this reverse sweep. I just think they have it in them. I mean, just as Iowa State reversed the momentum to tie it up, I think Michigan will clear this out. Like based on how I just love the Michigan play style where when they go down a goal, they just try to ramp it up. I do not think they will let this happen.
Yeah, I would agree, except I've been seeing a bit more panic from the side of what are they called? Bit more panic from the side of Michigan the more and more we play. Right? Like I think they look great. They're still passing to each other, but I think there's moments where it feels like no art especially is just keeps on messing things up. Give a second while we're trying to get the server.
I mean, we just got to make sure this game is all ready to go because when you put two teams like this against each other, you got to make sure all the conditions are right. Because it could really go either way. And with that, I think we will be nearing the start of this game in a moment on Champions Field to mark the occasion. And
Yeah,
here come the players.
I mean, where else would it be, right? It is the place of these match points, these series points. Like, where else would you want to play, right? Like, you got the banners of everyone in RLCS then. Right now, this is the big game. Michigan, you win this, you go 3-2. You show that you are very real. Even you've already showed it with your 2 first games. Iowa State, you got something online. And here we go. Kickoff. Goes the way. No art. He has control. He tries to go for the musty. He does so. Jones gets the big save, though, off the side. Instantaneously, we see Champions Field. The lights are not too bright for no art. Salty, though, can't quite get it. Milky has to get the big clear over onto the sidewall. Bartholomew is instantly on it. The pace is relentless from Michigan already as this ball gets cleared out. Plague puts this ball slightly high. Milky's already there. Can he get a second? Yes, he can, but Bartholomew is already on it. There's a demo, and suddenly, Michigan, they're stepping up when it matters most.
And look at Bartholomew, man. Like, you got chain dashes, wave dashes, all kind of dashes. He's trying to get everywhere, and he really wants to put this ball in the net right now. As Iowa State is looking very clumped up in their right in front of their goal. We're keeping this ball right in the Iowa State corner, so it'll be interesting to see what will happen here. Bartholomew with a nice little setup. Jones is there to defend, and Milky is unfortunately missing that one. It really seems like one little mistake from any player could start a wave of momentum to decide the end of this game. So it's understandable that they're taking this really serious.
Yeah, even if that didn't mess up, there's a big clear now suddenly out of no art. Milky, he has control of this ball. No boost, though. I don't think the players know, though. Yeah, he gets past one, but who's next up? This is slowing very awkwardly. Bartholomew, he gets the control of the boost now. Salty, no boost, gets a clear out, but next person up is Milky. Past one, but he gets bumped straight off no. Gets a huge 50 past Jones and Plague. We'll be fighting here. Gurf can't quite. Back over to Plague. Can't quite get there. No, he is up with no boost. Milky gets it as well with no boost. Bartholomew, though, takes control. Gets past another, though. The bump, and it goes okay. Plague, though, tries to put a shot on. Is that going to go off? It's off the post! And it's not in. That was a big chance for Michigan, but that chance is still available.
I think they're going to make it happen. I mean,
that sounds so calm about the chaos that's going on.
Nah, I mean, I'm just locked into this game, man. Plague is looking for something, and if you're Michigan, I think if you're either one of these teams, you really do not want to go down 0-1 to start this game. Now that we're almost halfway through this game, Jones on the miss, and Plague puts it away.
Can we talk about this note moment? Notes off the inside of the post.
Oh my. Yeah, you can feel the tension building up in the first 2.5 minutes of this game, and That is a very understandable outcome. But if you're Iowa State, you do not want to lose on that. But Michigan is equally aggressive here, trying to keep the bumps up.
Yeah, right now, back pass over to Jones. Salty gets a boost, but Plague, he's on it. I mean, absolutely phenomenal play by Note, right? Goes into the net, and he goes off the post, and he's up for that ball, flips into it, centers it, and he's able to get Plague to score it. But right now, the issue is Iowa State's trying to get this ball out. Note gets it past one. He's still on this. Can he get this? No, not quite. Jones has to deny it. Milky gets beat out, though. Salty gets a huge clear, gets a little chain dash to get this out, though gets heavily bumped. The next person up is Note, just shot directly on target. Jones clears out, but the boost is looking kind of awkward. Who's next up? Plague gets a huge boost steal, and suddenly you're so awkward if you're Iowa State. What's up next?
And hopefully not a Michigan goal would be the answer to that. But Iowa State is now looking for their own opportunity. Jones will want to keep this in their half. Jones might try again. That'll be off the post. But Salty will get beat to that. Milky on the miss. Bartholomew can't find it, but Note is there with a fake. Note on the bump. And Plague is still getting beat out by recumbent Jones, who now goes off the wall. No boost to follow that up, but Bartholomew's awkward off the post. And they are saved by Plague. And it's Iowa State now, who is 1 minute away from losing their undefeated season, but not quite yet, as Milky puts it away off the waterfall, off the pass by recumbent Jones. And Note, that's just an unfortunate angle. You can't, yeah.
I mean, who else was it gonna be other than Milky? So
Absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, right now, though, Iowa State, they're sticking on this. Michigan had a goal up, but right now, a minute left. This is a tie game. There's a chance we go to overtime if things keep up how they're going. But Milky, he is desperate to get this ball out of your boat. I say that. Salty, he's got to make sure this ball stays out. Plague gets past. No. Has to get a 50. Bartholomew, he is next. Gets past one. That's only a shot on. Milky gets the shot up high. Who is next? Plague off the sidewall. Can't do anything with it. Tries to go for the sidewall double, but that ball gets cleared out by Milky. Bartholomew, huge clear out, but Jones gets another one in response. Next person up is Plague off the sidewall, but this ball is still on their half. Salty, make sure the pressure keeps up. 15 seconds left on the clock. As there's another high shot that Salty's going to try to score. Kennedy, not quite. It's off. It's far out. Bartholomew, 10 seconds left. No, gets a huge beat out. And 3 seconds in. Michigan, they survive.
But it's not down yet. Now it is. Here we go. This is the moment. Game 5 overtime between two energetic teams. Milky not quite able to make that team play happen. Bartholomew looking for an early opportunity, and he will just feed it right to recumbent Jones. Both of these teams are just making sure they want to lock in the initial possession of this overtime, but it's seeming very ping-pongy at the moment, with neither team necessarily able to find anything. Plague goes flying, and another fake! Salty Earth can't put it away!
Bartholomew with the huge save. Who's next? Cut Jones off the bar. That's out! Iowa State can't finish it! Who's next? No save. Milky puts it high. Up. Gets the double. Milky wins it for Iowa State. Game 5 goes to Iowa State in overtime. The reverse sweep is confirmed. Iowa State,
I mean, if you're going to put that many opportunities on net, you're going to eventually find one, and that's just great play by Iowa State. Not letting those misses get to them, and they found the dub. They found the dub. Michigan on no boost in the end, and way to go, Iowa State, maintaining the 5-0 Northern Conference season.
I mean, not even close. Not even close. If you, I mean, my heart's racing. I can't even lie. What a game. I mean, Michigan, you nearly pulled off a massive upset by Iowa State. I mean, you showed it, right? Mental fortitude, you know?
Yeah.
It is what it takes.
And I feel for the Michigan players. You know, I've been in my fair share of reverse sweeps as the one getting reverse swept, and it's just such a rough feeling because you feel like you have a handle on the series, and at the end of the day, you just can't get it done. So it was honestly, I felt like it was a great showing by both teams. Iowa State just wanted it more in the end.
Yeah, but guess what, guys? We got another game. We're not quite done. We are going straight ahead into the Kansas State Nebraska game. And I mean, let's get a quick talk. I mean, first off, we need a briefer. I think we gotta chill out. We got a Kansas Nebraska game. This is gonna be exciting. But let's talk about both these teams. Kansas State, we know they're their other 4-0 team that's going on. And then there's obviously Nebraska, who's the team that's been very high on people's radar. You know, they are a team that they had a sub pickup. They have some people who could be a team that makes wild upsets happen, you know?
I definitely agree with that. I mean, coming off a 3-0 victory over Pratt CC, as well as a 3-0 victory over Colorado Mines, Nebraska is on a bit of a heater. I would say that Kansas State is probably the consensus number one team in the league still. But this could also be a very interesting game. Kansas State looking to maintain their own undefeated streak. But let's see what Nebraska can do here. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, 100%. And I think before we end, just who do you think is going to win, Kansas or Nebraska?
I mean, I love Nebraska for giving it a shot. I do think K-State is going to rock with this one, and they just look so strong compared to all the teams they play. And I would not be surprised if we see an undefeated season out of them.
Well, and I would like to say, I didn't go for the upset last game. I'm going for this game. I believe I was talking to Parf, Nebraska student, obviously. He was talking to me. He is very high on the team, and I'm high on the team. I saw so much things I loved from Electro and Zimic. Electro he's such a good player, man. He's consistently great for this team. Zimic is this offensive beast that can do things when he needs to do things. And I know Kansas State, they have what it takes to win it all, right? Like they could just straight up win the entire thing. But I don't know, you know? Today feels like a day of upsets. Maybe almost upsets, but there's something in the air, you know?
Yeah, I definitely feel it. I mean, there's always room in these conference games for teams that haven't necessarily played each other to have a chance to topple the consensus top teams. But here we go. We will find out right now as Kansas State takes on Nebraska here in week 8 of the Meridian Collegiate Conference.
Yeah, we got Kansas State on the blue, Nebraska on the orange, and already right away we are on the Nebraska defense. Zimic gets a huge clear though on them, and suddenly gets a big demo, and suddenly there's a quick jump in by Alien Techno, but already Electro gets another 50. The Techno gets a chip of the ball, make sure things aren't messed up. And the physicality already from Nebraska to make sure Kansas State cannot do what they want to do is major. There's a boost steal from K-Fish. And already, I am loving what I'm seeing from Nebraska. You know, they are doing so much off the ball. They are not a team that's purely needs to get goals. They're a team that's willing to do the dirty stuff, you know? Pick up the boost steals, pick up other stuff. But it doesn't matter when you can score goals like Electro. Puts it top left, goes down to the center. It's 1-0 Nebraska.
And I mean, that's not the start you want if you're Kansas State. Just an unfortunate miss there, and I don't think Alien Techno was ready for that one. But this will be I think Nebraska, I mean, if we're going based off that first 30 seconds, I'm now more of a believer in Nebraska having a shot. But at the end of the day, I think Kansas State will end up finding their footing within a few minutes and maybe turning the momentum around. But Moon might have a shot opportunity here. And what a save there on the goal line with a little bar up and bar down and everything. But they made it work, and Electro on the clear now. But Moon wants to keep it right here in this Nebraska half.
Yeah, I think while we're just kind of here on the side, I think we should talk about quickly about this Kansas State team. Alien Techno, obviously, great player. But we also got, I think, one of their also amazing players, Jiro. But as I'm talking about Kansas State, Electro just needs to shut me up and reminds me that Nebraska's here to play ball.
And Electro scored the other goal too, right? I mean, we're just making stuff happen here on the side of Nebraska. So this is a very interesting start for undefeated Kansas State as they look to maintain their own win streak here.
Yeah, right now, though, Entecto beats out, I believe it was Zimic, though. Electro gets a huge 50 that goes over to the way of K-Fish, who gets 50'd by Boone, though Jiro gets a huge dem on Zimic, and suddenly this ball is just a floater. There's a bit of a bump on the Nebraska side, though. Zimic just cuts off this, makes it a non-issue, tries to go for the sidewall double, can't quite, but Electro put the shot. Is this going to be a thing from K-Fish? No, he just doesn't even bother touching it, and Electro gets the hat trick less than 2 minutes into the game. This has been a stomp from Nebraska.
I mean, that is very impressive. You could almost say that K-Fish contributed on that fake there, but of course Electro with the actual goal, and he's just lighting it up on the side of lighting it up into the Kansas State goal, I should say. And now Kansas State will want to make something happen here if they are to win this game, as Electro, the MVP thus far, not entirely wanting that to happen, but Moon will look for an opportunity, and nothing quite there, and we might just be heading right back into this Kansas State half.
Yeah, K-Fish gets a heavy touch, though. There's a big demo on Electro. I mean, if there's anyone that you're taking out of the game, Electro's probably your best bet. No, we're saying that. Electro, I think, is their best player. Zimic is amazing. I think you gotta take out both these players. And K-Fish, he is no slouch himself. Though I'm talking about this. Jiro tries to get a shot, though. K-Fish just... I don't know if I'd call that psycho, but he does get the double he needs, and that goes straight out. Electro gets a bit bumped. Techno tries to get the boost, though. Suddenly there's a shot attempt, and Moon just big miss. Jiro has to get the 50. He goes the way, though, that they'd like. Electro off the back, K-Fish is able to collect that, and we're instantly back on the Nebraska half. Nebraska, as much as they're on their defense, they are getting the touches that they need to get this ball as far out as possible, even if they're slightly risky.
I mean, they're doing a great job of it, and it's even easier for them now that they're 3 goals up. They can just, as long as they keep up the pressure, they don't need anything more unless Kansas State is able to find something. As Alien Techno off the ceiling, and Jiro now tasked with the goal. But K-Fish is able to clear it right past Moon, I believe that was. And it's looking a little bit bleak in Game 1 for this Kansas State team, as this ball is just staying right here in their half. Jiro trying to clear it out, but not able to make it happen, as K-Fish puts it in now for Nebraska, and they are just piling onto this lead. And what can you do if you're Kansas State with 1:20 left? I think you almost just have to regroup and hope for the best next game.
Yeah, at this point, this game is kind of dusted. I mean, you could just try to score, you know, get something to kickstart something for the next game. But I mean, that play, right? The first 3, Electro's going off. He is doing numbers on you. That's just all right. There's a guy popping off. But that goal right there, that was Zimic causing a bit of chaos, and K-Fish finishing it up. Gets past one, does a bit of bumps, and then K-Fish secures it. That's now 2 new players that are suddenly making moves on you. That's a 3-headed dragon you're facing, and you gotta figure out how to deal with that. But right now, I think if you're Kansas State, there's things you can clean up, right? I think you aren't as a team right now. You're kind of isolated. Alien Techno's making the shot. Moon gets an amazing save. Electro tries to put this. He puts it wide, but at this point in the game, it doesn't really matter, even if he'd like to secure himself a 4th goal to feel better. And yeah, I think if you're just Kansas State, you don't have offense. When you have shots going on, you don't really have shots going on. There's been some threats, that's fair enough to say, but there is nothing amounting to what Nebraska has done to you. Nebraska has just simply outshot you, has just made out-threatening stuff than you. K-Fish there's putting that ball just in front of your goal. Thankfully, someone's able to get it out, but not quite over yet. And there, Jiro gets a save, but Electro is able to finish it off, and at this point, these final 11 seconds, they're just a formality.
I mean, if you look at the last 20 or 30 seconds out of Kansas State, it's really there is a lot to be improved on in terms of the defense, and it's a little concerning if you're a Kansas State fan at this point, because you do need a lot stronger of a defense in general when it comes to all these teams in the Maria Collegiate Conference, but also against this promising Nebraska team who I am now a little more sold on. after watching play a little bit. Zimic will try to get one for the road and not quite, but what a phenomenal first game performance out of them. 5 goals and the Electro hat trick. And what a start for Nebraska.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's safe to say it was a bit more than just one-sided. It was a stomp, right? I think 5-0 was Nebraska chilling out. They weren't like an offense. I think it's fair to say Nebraska wasn't absolutely pummeling the net, right? It's 9 shots. We've seen more shots in the game. They've just been putting the shot here and there. It's just been pressure. They are constantly controlling that midfield line, and this ball is staying on their side. This ball might go, oh, it's slightly into the Nebraska half. Oh, it's just cleared us back over to a teammate who's over there. And suddenly we got another pressure situation in the corner going on. Oh, they're about to clear this out. Well, it's just 50 this, and now we got another teammate. Oh, here's a shot. Oh, here's a save, and suddenly we keep on going. Just Kansas State cannot find a way to break through. And when they do break through, Nebraska has an answer. They did what was, I don't know if it was a psycho, it was kind of, I can properly tell, but they were able to get like a double off their own back wall that sent it over to a teammate. Oh, they're about to do something, back pass it to a teammate who's able to do something with it. They're making sure that there isn't anything for Kansas State to stick to and take advantage of. And if that doesn't change, it's going to be hard for Kansas State to even get a grasp into this game, let alone a game.
Absolutely. I mean, it will be a very interesting sequence of the first 10 seconds here to see what Kansas State is going to do differently, because it's almost imperative that they need to change something for the sake of them winning the series. Some nice early pressures. Alien Techno might try to find a shot. Nothing quite there. A little nice little Arsenal fake out of Zimic there. But Moon will have a full tank. Electro not letting him get the chance to clear it out, as Giro will put it into the corner, right back to K-Fish. And Zimic almost on another shot opportunity there. So, I mean, if you're Kansas State, you're already having, 2 shots on your net, maybe more coming up, and you got to find a way to make something happen here. K-Fish just slotting it right in. There it is. A nice little goal. Yeah, there you go.
I mean, Moon tries to put it out. Just Electro, he centers it. I don't know if that was what he's trying to do, but K-Fish is in that perfect position to punish it of whatever's going on in that net. And no technical can't get saved. And suddenly, it's 1-0 up Nebraska. They have not stopped what was happening last game. And suddenly, there was moments there for Kansas State, right? They had something going on the offense for a second there, but it was just, they were trying to do a cut. I think the big one I saw was Giro. He tried to do a heavy cut on Zimic, and Zimic was he just said no. He just rushed that ball and denied it, although that's going across. That was kind of terrifying, but Alien Techno just misses it, and Moon has to jump in. He gets the 50 he wants, but rotations are kind of messed up. Electro, no boost, puts into the corner to K-Fish, who beats one out, though Giro puts it straight across. Zimic, he's taking control now, and Zimic is the guy that I think Parf especially is very high on, and I'm high on myself, because watching this guy is really fun, I think, simply put. But Electro, he is the star of the show right now in this series. Can't get the double there, but let's make sure this ball went on the offense, and K-Fish, this guy's been a sturdy piece for this Nebraska team. Although he can also put a shot on that Moon has to make a save on. Techno puts it over to the side to Giro, who's going to try to take this ball out. Picks up a foul, but gets denied by Electro, who on no boost keeps on going. Gets a demo. It's going to make this so awkward, and Electro puts it back into the corner, who Zimic meets. And next person up is going to be K-Fish. He opts to wait this out. It's a bit too awkward. That's worth it. Fair enough. Now, boost totals so low. Giro's the only person with boost on 13. Is Electro going to do something? Tries to double, can't quite. Techno has like nothing. There's a bump, and that's an open net. The starvation is enough to make Nebraska get the goal.
I was concerned for a second that Zimic wasn't taking that shot there, but Alien Techno probably thought that Zimic was going, and then when the K-Fish shot happened, he just couldn't react to it. And there's another goal out of Nebraska. We're only 2 minutes into this game. I feel like it's been longer than that, but K-Fish wasting no time on another attempt. Giro will clear that out, and a little bit awkward for K-State now. K-Fish back on the offense, and Moon will take it here. But Nebraska is certainly hot. Obviously, Electro with that hat trick earlier. Zimic with some nice setups. All these players are getting some really nice opportunities. They're playing a real role in this victory, and that's probably why this performance has been as dominant as it is, because you could say great things about all 3 players in this game. Almost another goal. Oh, man. And
Okay.
that's a great attempt.
I mean, Kansas State. Hey, you're still in it because of that, but yeah. I mean, how many lives do you got? Because you feel like you used most of them there, though, and I say that in Zimic. He puts this one away. It's a 3-goal lead for Nebraska, and this is... I know this is going to make it probably 2-0 for Nebraska, and obviously last series we went to 2-0, right? But it did not have the same vibes as this. Nebraska here feels like a team that is outplaying Kansas more than it feels like it was Iowa State, where they were just playing down, right? Iowa State just wasn't quite at their levels, and that's when they reached their level, they were able to make a reverse sweep happen. This case just feels like Nebraska is stepping up, and they're just outplaying Kansas State. Even if Kansas State was at their best, I don't know if they would have this. I think this is the strongest team we've seen, just how they're playing right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just been a dominant performance out of Nebraska. K-State certainly looking for some opportunities here, as Alien Techno is suddenly last back, and he will want to clear this out with... He does get the corner boost, but not over Zimic, and K-State is just kind of looking a little bit lost in terms of what to do here. They will get a nice little clear out. Zimic will control over Moon, and Electro will take it back into the blue half, and Zimic up the wall. What will he do here? Moon on the pre-jump, and Moon does get there. We are looking at possible disconnects here, but we're going to play on for the time being, as Zimic looks for a shot.
Looks like Electro's back.
Yeah, I think we're good now. Electro and coming in with a nice save. Yeah, it's like he never left. K-Fish not able to clear that one. But this is looking very promising for Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm going to just reinstate the rules quick here. Even though Electro did DC, the game just kept on going because game started, game scores, goals have already been scored, and I think, in the end, Nebraska, I think we're doing kind of okay. So they didn't really mind. Obviously, if there was no goal scored, we would probably just be doing a reset, as we've done in the past. But right now, final 10 seconds. It's over. Nebraska, you're up 2-0. Kansas State, you need to figure something out in this next minute, because right now, I don't think you even have a sliver of hope to look at.
I mean, they certainly have a history of winning these kinds of series, but at the end of the day, it's just another challenge, and you can only win so many of these challenges where you're looking at a 2-0 and you need to reverse sweep it. So this will be an interesting one. I'm not sure if, I mean, just in general, I'm not sure if Kansas State has it in them today. Just purely off of the vibes of watching this game, Nebraska is really making a lot happen in terms of the team plays. All of the players are contributing on the offense, and Kansas State really just needs to lock in is what it is. But I think they can do it. It's just a matter of will they, and do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the big thing I need to see is Giro and Moon, I think, gotta step it up a bit. I think in general, the team as a whole gotta play more together. Alien Techno, I think, has been fine, right? I don't think he's been amazing, but he's doing things he needs to do. I think he's been okay. Giro, I think, has been a bit quiet, and I think Moon's just been having a rough time. I think those are the two big things, and I think if this team as a whole also gets onto the same page, they have a chance. But right now, from what I've seen, I haven't seen anything that makes me feel that they're going to show it. They are currently on pace to get perfect swept. They have not scored a single goal in 2 games. And if things continue as they've been, they might not score a single goal in this entire series. Which, for a team that's been as dominant as they've been, no one, I think is safe to say, would have been ready to say that.
Oh yeah, it's almost an opportunity on the side of Kansas State, and if you are Kansas State, you want to make that happen right now with no further ado, but unfortunately nothing yet. K-Fish will push this back into the Kansas State half. Giro looking for something early here. Moon is going up for that one, and they're doing a nice job of keeping some pressure on. They can get maybe 1 or 2 more player rotations here. Jiro going up into the corner, and Moon with 0 boost and a dream, nothing there. All of these Kansas State players are up, and they're looking for something right now. If it gets cleared into their half, what could happen? As that almost happens, but they are looking for bumps.
Yeah, I mean, what I saw there on the offense, I was very scared. I was about to jinx everything, but the offense from Kansas State was much better there, right? Their midfield presence actually became a thing. I say that Alien Techno tries to go for a thing, but can't quite do it. He does, and Moon just gets not the touch he wants, and suddenly they're on the defense again. But Jiro's able to clear it. Alien Techno hold ups, trying to put this down. Can't quite. Jiro can't do anything, and Electra just makes sure nothing can happen and continues onwards. But as I was saying, I think Kansas State, it hasn't led to a goal, but their midfield exists now. They're able to do things. And right as I say that, Electro is chilling in the midfield and controls his ball and just stops my words. But in general, there's moments there. Kansas State was getting control. They were getting themselves like nice and buff, but they couldn't quite finish it. But that's an improvement. It's something I would like to say earlier, like in Game 2. If I saw it in Game 2, I'd have more belief. But you're in Game 3 right now. It's do or die. It's very late for you to make these adjustments, but it's better late than never, I guess.
And it just seemed like in the few seconds that I was watching that K-State might have had a boost advantage, but not sure about that now as Electro puts a shot on. Zimic tries to follow up, and Nebraska is looking a little empty in their back half, but Alien Techno with no boost cannot take advantage. Moon, though, is able to find the open net, and there is Kansas State's first lead of the series, and hopefully leading to something more here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only their first lead, it's the first goal of the entire series for Kansas State. They finally have something that they can look at and say, we've done the big thing. From here on out, it's just a couple more of those, right? Right now, you have a lead. Be happy. There's another chance, and this lead's now 2-0, and suddenly, Kansas State, they're suddenly making people believe, I think? It's a bit early to call, but that's a good start.
Absolutely, and if you're Kansas State, this is exactly what you want, because you don't want the alternative, is all I'll say. But let's see if they can hold on to it. K-Fish on the early offensive right off the kickoff, and Electro, and both of these Nebraska players will be heading back. Zimic waiting for that ball to come to him, and he'll go with a nice little flick to the backboard. K-Fish is up, but nothing doing there. Zimic will be waiting in the midfield for this one, but K-Fish will get to it first, and nothing quite yet for Nebraska, as that one is almost in, but not quite.
Yeah, I mean, there was an attempt there, couldn't quite get it, but I mean, Kansas State, you're making Nebraska not as dominant on the offense. You've taken care of the biggest threat to you. You've also taken care of your offense. Arguably the biggest threat, maybe if not just the second biggest threat. But right now I'm talking, there's another chance there. Moon couldn't quite do it, but there's something happening now. Kansas State, they're slowly getting into momentum. They're figuring things out. They're playing up to the pace. They're getting beats. Zimic originally would have absolutely, ruined this. But right now, Nebraska, there's a minute left and 2 goals. It's not unheard of, but with how Kansas State has been playing, suddenly, it's going to be difficult.
Absolutely. And Jiro with a nice little pass to Moon there, and they're now finding their footing here. It took a little longer than they would have liked, I'm sure. But that's a nice little team play, and all the Nebraska players were caught a little off guard by that one. But if we're going by those first 2 games, I think Nebraska can really make anything happen here at the end. So let's see what they can do here. K-State will win this kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, it was also a beautiful goal by Moon, but I mean, there's another nice goal by Jiro. I mean, suddenly, this is feeling more and more like the game one that Nebraska had. Maybe not at the pace, but the feeling's starting to get there. This is a team that's starting to outplay the other team, absolutely. And I mean, Nebraska, you gotta clean things up. Right now, Zimic is going to go for the one-on-one, gets 50'd heavily by Alien Techno, who tries to get something from Moon. Moon doesn't get it, but now it's Jiro. He's back up on the ceiling. Although he opts to wait it out, is trying to get 50. Gets another 50, though. Moon gets a hard hit into the corner. Zimic has to save. Well, would have been possibly in. But at this point, game's over. There is no sweep happening today. Kansas State, they've showed they have something there. But the question, all eyes are going to be on this next game, Game 4. If they win that, there's another chance at a reverse sweep tonight.
And it goes to show how much of a role momentum has in this game with both series today. We've had some very interesting reverses in momentum, and we'll just have to see if Kansas State can stick with it and win out the series.
Yeah, but I think I'm just going to talk about a bit what I've been seeing from the teams that I've been really liking. I think the biggest thing I saw was in how the boost was controlled, right? For reference, the boost steals, I think, they weren't massive for either of these teams. I think Alien Techno, he stole like 3. Jiro, he stole 3. Moon, he stole 7. 7 large pads. That is a very significant amount. That adds up to 13. So a good amount to steal. Over on the Nebraska side, they stole 8. Not insignificant, but it's not amazing. However, the big story of the game was in that midfield control. You could see that it was nearly double the amount of boost was picked up on those midfield large pads by the Kansas State thing. Whether that be while they're on defense or on offense. But they've been picking that thing up and making sure that things have been going their way. In general, the boost control was a massive part that led to Kansas State's thing. In general, they've also just been a more unified team this time. And if they keep up that unified play style, I think especially off that one thing where Moon was able to get the goal off of a pass, I think it's going to become a very different series in the second part. But as we go in, Alien Techno suddenly on the ball, though. Double commit instantly from Nebraska. That's an infield shot that Moon can't quite put in.
A nice opportunity for K-State there, but not able to make it happen. And there is another miss, and it's almost reminiscent of how they were looking in the first half of the series, which is not necessarily promising. Is K-Fish putting it right past him? The net's open. Is anyone there? And there is Zimic coming in for a nice shot to put Nebraska up once again. And now it's K-State looking to find their way out of a Nebraska lead, which they have not been able to do thus far.
Yeah, I think that was a double commit there on the K-Fish initial hit before the pinch, which cost that entire thing. I mean, comms issue, right? I mean, I was talking about how good they were when they were unified, but when they're not, you get moments like that in Nebraska. That is the start you want. You want to show that last game was just a fluke. And right now, if that's how they're going to play, it might as well just be. No one's going to remember it. But at the moment, Kansas State, they are on the defense. Can they stop this Nebraska proper offense? That is the thing that they have been unable to properly do. They kind of did it last game, but even the Nebraska's offense wasn't the same. But if Nebraska brings up the offense that they had in the first 2 games, Kansas got to show that they have what it takes to stop it. But right now, Alien Techno is trying to get the double. No touch there, and Moon's just able to score. And I mean, they'll take that as well. It's 1-1.
And that is a first for this series. Alien Techno not quite able to put it away, but Moon on the support. And that is a nice way to tie things up. So this will be an interesting one. I mean, Nebraska can do it. K-State was looking like they were finding their footing in that last game for sure. So this will be a fun one.
Yeah, I mean, Electro, he missed on the backboard, which made that very possible for Moon. But right now, that's not the worry on these sides. It's right now, Kansas State, can you keep your defense alive? In Nebraska, can you make something happen? But Moon gets a hit, though. Even if Jiro dies, he is keep things going. And now Alien Techno puts us off into the corner, meets a teammate there. Gets past one, K-Fish gets a boost steal, which is going to be huge for later. But at the moment, Moon gets past one. Can Alien Techno put that on target? He can, but Zimic has to make the save. And suddenly we're back on the Kansas State half, but Jiro, he's instantly trying to keep this ball ahead. Gets a good 50, sticks on it past another. Moon, he puts it through. Jiro, I mean, that's sensational.
I mean, this is the Kansas State we all know, and that all the other teams they played know because they lost to Kansas State, all the other teams. But they're looking to go 2 for 2 on reverse sweeps on the day. So, I believe. This will be a very interesting turn of events here if they're able to make this happen.
Yeah, right now, though, Alien Technos gets not quite beat, but Moon, he has the ball, doesn't quite get it, though, and now K-Fish trying to put a shot on, gets a bit of a touch, not quite. Zimic, he just misses. He's still there somehow. Don't know how he got there. Electro tries to get a bump, but Giro, he's just avoiding everything, tries to put his own thing. The Alien Techno, he puts a shot on Zimic, gets the save, but right now, Nebraska, they are suddenly back to where they were in Game 3, and suddenly it's feeling less fluky every single time we go. Electro can't quite do what he wants, and Zimic has to get a sudden beat out, puts it in the back corner just to make sure that ball isn't in. Gets another 50 on Moon, and suddenly, you know, Techno doesn't get the touch. Zimic, he has a bit of chance. He gets a flick over past one, but there's no one else there, and there's a double commit. It's gonna be punished. Giro, he just bounces off the ball when he tries to get the pinch.
But Zimic might be almost putting it away here, and Nebraska is ramping up the pressure, which is certainly what you want. K-Fish not letting Giro have any piece of that, as K-State is looking for a clear here. And will they be able to find it? Yes.
Off of Electro.
I think Electro, yeah. But here comes Moon, down to a little further from Alien Techno than he would have liked. But Moon will keep the pressure on for K-State, and this is a win that you want for sure. So they will try to keep the pressure up, but Electro... And actually, that's not a very favorable touch for K-Fish, but Nebraska is trying to make it work here.
Yeah, but right now, though, they're about to near the minute mark of this series, of this game, I mean. And if they reach that, you're going to have to get another goal. But right now, K-Fish gets a big 50 on Leon Techno. Though Giro, he might get them, but he gets the ball before he gets away. Now Moon, he is just buying time, tries to get something, but it's not threatening at all. K-Fish gets a very awkward touch, and Giro just keeps his ball in the backboard, and Electro... that ball is out. Zimic, one-on-one. Can't quite do it. Alien Techno gets a huge beat. Gets a boost steal as well to keep this ball so awkward. K-Fish, no boost. Zimic puts it over. K-Fish has to get the 50, which he does so. Moon, no boost as well. Shot there. Gets a huge Electro. And is that just in? K-Fish will make sure it is. And suddenly, it is 2-all of a 50 all the way on Nebraska's side.
And this is getting very real for Kansas State now. As this game's tied up, and if they are not in the lead at the end of this one, that is the end of their series. So, let's see what will happen here in this last 30 seconds. Moon will get a clear out, but I would imagine Zimic will be up for that one, and he is. Now Giro. It's going to be off the wall, Alien Techno, and that'll just roll right in as K-State is looking to save their series here, and that is just an unfortunate touch off of Electro. K-Fish not quite up for it, but Alien Techno with a nice little slot.
Yeah, I mean, good response by Kansas State there. Trying to take this thing all the way to Champions Field. We are currently 3 to 24 seconds left, and goes a bit of the way, actually, of Moon, who would appreciate, though gets heavily bumped in Electro. He's on this final 20 seconds. There is a double commit. What is going on in Alien Techno? He just practically scored this match. What just happened on the backboard?
That's just an unfortunate touch out of Electro, and I think K-Fish might have been trying to prevent that, but that's just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, K-Fish probably should have just gone to net there instead. Maybe trust the teammate a bit more, but, I mean, it's a bit too late now. And is there another goal? No, Moon doesn't get the touch, but...
They were looking for it. The demos are really coming out now.
Yeah, okay. But doesn't matter anymore. We are going to Game 5. We are going to, should be Champions Field. We are getting a goal at the Zimic top left. I mean, take one for the road. Have all the momentum you need, because Game 5s aren't the same as every other game we play. As here we go. Kansas State.
If you prevented that last second goal out of K-State, that final goal out of Nebraska could have tied things up. And it just goes to show how it's really important to play until the end, because sometimes you can find opportunities even when it seems like there's nothing really promising in the last 20 seconds or so. But we've seen some great showings out of both of these teams, just like in the previous series. I'm still rocking with Kansas State. I believe that's who I predicted. Being that they're
Yeah,
more experienced in winning. I mean, both of these teams are experienced in winning, but Kansas State with the undefeated season on the line, I think they will find it.
yeah. Well, I think Nebraska start at 2-0. They showed fight in this game, right? I think game 3 there was nothing. They got rolled by Kansas State, but they brought something back here, even if they lost in the end. But game 5, I think the guy you got to look at is Electro, right? That game 1 was a masterclass. That game 2, he was still doing great. This game 3 and 4, though, he's been so much more quiet. And Zimic is trying. Zimic's been great still, but we will be sticking on Manfield as we go into game 5 of the series. Here, reminder, we got on the blue side Kansas State. On the orange side, we got Nebraska. As we go to this last match of the day, last series of the day. Here we go. K-Fish off the sidewall. Who is next? Nobody. We're going to be taking a long moment here. Giro is trying to slow this down. Gets the reset. Just opts to go down quick. Alien Techno tries to put the shot on the Electro. Huge saves. Already stepping up in the game that matters most. And gets another beat. But Giro, this guy is insane, and he's still there. And Techno tries to keep this ball out, and Kansas State, they showing that they're the still same team from these last 2 games.
Absolutely. But Zimic,
What?
looking for something here, not quite.
Electro had a chance, and he missed. But suddenly, Nebraska, they were trying to show that they had in game 1 is still very much here. Electro off the ceiling. Can he do another one? He does get the touch on target. Who's next? Moon has to make a save. Zimic gets a big 50. K-Fish, he is up next. He is very late, though. Alien Techno has not a chance to worry about that. But no boost and the bump. He's going to be so slow back. And Moon, he's the last man back. There's a double commit, though. Suddenly, K-Fish, he's got to make sure this ball doesn't go in, which Electro is able to help him out in time. But suddenly, Kansas State, this is their offense that's been popping off a bit more and more. And it's
I'm getting the sense.
Online.
I'm getting the sense that Nebraska is playing a tiny bit less confident here, just in general. You know, occasional double commits and kind of getting beat more so early in the game by the Kansas State players. But I think if Nebraska can find what was working so well in the early part of the series, then they do still stand a real chance to win this one. But K-State really just found the momentum. The roles are looking kind of flipped here compared to a few games ago.
Yeah, but right now, K-Fish has to make a big save. He does so. Alien Techno tries to put the center, but Zimic gets the huge beat. Zimic is still trying to warm himself back up in the game, but he's getting better. Just gets a double boost steal, which long-term, much have more success. Electro tries to put a shot on, can't quite. K-Fish gets the 50, gets the beat, gets the goal. 3 minutes left on the clock. 1-0 Nebraska.
And that is the start you want out of Nebraska. Unfortunately, both defenders on the Kansas State side, neither of them able to keep that one out of the net. But Kansas State now is invested because they didn't work this hard to almost have the reverse sweep and not do it. So I think they will be on the hunt for another goal, or not another goal, but a first goal of this game here. As Zimic gets bumped off of that one, Giro looking to initiate the play here, and he will get it past one and past K-Fish, but ultimately into Electro. And I think if K-State, I mean, both of these teams have showed their potential for making some nice passing plays here, and I think ultimately that's what it will come down to.
Yeah, 100%. But right now, there might be another shot. K-Fish, he puts this very wide, tries to get a bump on another that just spawned in. Does Zimic trying to put a shot on? That's very high. Alien Techno, no boost, pretty much is trying to just 50 this. He does so to Giro over on the corner, but he just gets a heavy touch that Zimic now has. He has time. He can feast, but Alien Techno is able to beat that out. K-Fish, heavy touch. Giro can save it over to the corner where Moon is in the waiting, but Nebraska gets baked.
Okay, Moon.
Zimic, he beats 2 though. That was a 2-on-1 50 that he just won out, acting like Fireburn over there, and then Electro has to make the big save. Giro though, it's kind of getting messed up. Alien Techno gets a beat. Who is
Giro just looking for bumps? Look at that.
Yeah, you would be the one in favor side. There's a bump on the team side there, actually. Zimic has to get the save. That's such an awkward one, though. Who's next? Electro pre-jump saves it. That's huge. Keep it alive, but the boost totals are looking so awkward. Electro tries to keep us in the corner. There should be another boost spawn there in the bottom right, but there it is. Who picks it up? Not quite anyone yet, I believe so. No, it looks like that a Kansas State player actually stole it, and these boost totals are getting ugly. Electro gets a 50. Gets past one, actually. There's a huge dem, but right now, this ball's all the way back to Kansas State side, even with no boost. And Electro keeps his ball high. Leyland Techno tries to send it out. K-Fish gets the 50. Not quite what he wants, but into the corner it goes again. And Electro, he's been this guy. He's been the guy that I want to watch. He's been the guy who's been stepping up when it matters. The hero of the story. But right now, K-Fish gets a huge 50 over to Zimic. He has his time, gets a heavy hit out, but that's straight to Moon, but that shot's not even on target. What's the next thing from Jiro? Gets saved by K-Fish. Alien Techno can't quite, and Jiro keeps on bumping. He's trying to make this as hard as possible, but Nebraska is able to get this ball out, but it's straight back in.
Jiro almost an opportunity there to put one in the net, and looking at 10 seconds left in this game, they will need to find another one. Unless they just are going to lose this series. So Nebraska keeping it in their half, and now the series depends on Moon, but he can't keep it up. And Nebraska walks away from what was almost a reverse sweep. And that we've had two very different endings to these games today. Both reverse sweep potential, and Nebraska able to avoid it. So no 2 for 2 on the reverse sweeps today, but 2 for 2 on very fun games to watch, 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, in the end, it took a lot of work from the side of Nebraska to make sure this game goes their way, but they get it. In the end, they join the fight for second place, and suddenly we have a very interesting fight in the North. With that, Iowa State is the only team to be 5-0. The next two teams, Kansas State and what's their name? Nebraska, are 4-1. Suddenly, second place is a bit more interesting, and Kansas State, suddenly, you have to be worried a bit more. There is a chance. It's a small chance. It would take some extreme things to happen, but there's a chance that Kansas State could end 4-3, and suddenly, that becomes a bit more terrifying.
I mean, this could definitely serve as a wake-up call for Kansas State. It is good, in my opinion, that they won those two games, because if they just went out 0-3 right there, I would have been slightly concerned about their playoff chances. But honestly, I'm more surprised about Iowa State being the remaining undefeated team in the North. So props to them, but hopefully they can carry that momentum forward. And this will be a very interesting end to the Northern Conference for sure.
Yeah, but I think before we're going to call our night, we have the chance to interview one of the Nebraska players. I think who will be joining us will be Zimic. So we'd like to get him in here. Hello, Zimic. How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
I mean, we're doing great. That was a great series you gave us.
I appreciate it, man. It was fun.
Yeah, I wanted to start off firstly.
Stressful.
Yeah, I want to start off actually that first question about a bit of stress. I mean, you guys went up 2-0 in, I won't say dominant fashion. You mean 0 goals led in by Kansas State in those first two games, but suddenly you're on the back end of a reverse sweep. What's like the mental like going into like game 5?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is regrouping. Kansas State definitely amped up their pace and started controlling that midfield a lot better than we were, and we had to make a few adjustments. Made sure our mental was good in between that fourth and that fifth game, and we just came out on top.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And another thing I want to talk about, like, obviously you were an amazing player out there. You were playing great, but I also want to talk about some of your teammates. I mean, K-Fish and Electro. They look great as well out there. How's it playing with them?
It's awesome. It's smooth. K-Fish is a a very solid player. He's able to dish it out to me and Electro, where we can kind of do our thing and we can trust him back on defense. He's very solid on rotations as well. And Electro's just that all around player that you can trust in any tight situation, especially in that last fifth game. You saw him going up the wall, air dribbling it out when Kfish and I both didn't have any boost. So it was kind of that or nothing. And he's that type of player that you can trust him, and he's gonna get it done for you.
Here's a question for you. When you're looking at the rest of this season, looking at 4-1 in the conference with remaining games against Washington State and Penn State, is there anything that sticks out to you about what you're thinking about regarding the rest of the season for you guys?
No, I think we're looking for another 3-0, 3-0 and get on to that postseason and really show people what we can do. I think we can go far. I think we can win the whole thing. So I think we play our game and just do what we know how to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great mentality. But thank you so much for joining us here today, Zimic, and congrats on the victory.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep, have a good day.
You too.
Yeah. And with that, obviously, great to talk to Zimic. I mean, he and his entire team, all amazing players, and seem like they get along very well, which is great to hear. But I think before we end the night, let's talk about the implications that today had. Currently, obviously, the day ended with, unfortunately, the beginning with a PSU forfeit against Pratt, which means both of those teams are 1-4. However, weirdly enough, I was taking a quick look earlier before we started everything. 1-4 teams are not quite out. In general, 4-loss teams are not quite out. If things play out in a certain way, there's a chance that we get, I don't know if it's still possible. I think it's still possible. There's a chance we get a 5-way tie for that 4th place seed with people that have 4 losses. It would be very specific, but it's not impossible. So chances aren't dead for both of the teams, but it's going to involve a lot of chaos. And obviously, we got the Iowa State. They are now the number 1 seed. They are the sole leaders of the entire Northern Conference. And right on their heels, we got Nebraska, Kansas State. With Kansas State, they still have a chance in Week 10 to face Iowa State and possibly take them down and put us on a case of where everyone is going to be ending with 1 loss. So that's much later in the future. But Fast, is there anything else you want to say before we call it night?
I mean, this is what's so great about the Meridian Collegiate Conference, right? If today is any indication, anything can happen in these games. And, while the prospects of the 5-way tie sound kind of out there, it's really not, right? And that's what makes this league and this conference so great, is that all these teams are able to make something happen, and it will be a very interesting end to the season. So it will be worth tuning in as we wrap up the last 2 weeks of the MCC plus the impending playoffs.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, is anything really out there at this point? We all thought that Washington State were going to be one of the biggest teams that would be fighting for a playoff spot, and suddenly they're 1-3. Anything can happen in this league. That's why you should tune in for this next 2 weeks. But that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you here next week. Good night, everyone.